What's up, y'all? It's season 10 of the Carefree Black Girl Podcast, where we discuss everything carefree, black, and girl. It's your girl, Dr. Phoenix Lux here. You know, your favorite therapy and fantasy baddie. And I'm going to pass it off to the lovely Hazel Harvey.
Yes.
It's Hazel Harvey, the realest of the real, the Southeast princess in your presence. I'm going to pass it to my girl, Jazzy Jazz.
Hey, y'all. It's me, Jasmine Taylor TV, and we're back again. You know the vibes. That girl from Brooklyn.
Period.
Now, Big Les. Talk your big one.
Last but not least is your girl, Big Les, a.k.a. Leslie Latrice, your favorite veteran turned entrepreneur. Now, let's get into it.
Yes, and we know you are exhausted with the election talk, but this is Carefree Black Girl Podcast. I know y'all are tired of election season, but we want to give our big one to the women, the black women, and other women of color who really rallied around Kamala. And I just love how in a short amount of time, we really rallied. I was feeling how Kelly was extra militant when she was on the stage.
Y'all know we love a militant woman.
What are some other women that you guys just thought of during the election season that were really impactful?
Well, you know, I'm the youngest on the panel.
Yes,
so shout out
T.
to Marseille Martin for being a spokesperson for like just the Gen Z people, you know, like it's really hard. Like, you know, it's really hard to get us all together. So for her to just be a spokesperson for her, it was just amazing to see that. So shout out to Marseille.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think like one person that we probably know is our forever Olivia Pope, a.k.a. Miss Kerry Washington. She has been and was on the campaign trail for Kamala Harris, and I just think that that's amazing. I was able to see her in person at Kamala's rally here in Charlotte, so that was great. But I don't want to forget about the people who are behind the scenes that we may not actually know their names, but are putting things together and making sure that people are out there people went out and voted. They also just facilitated the campaign in general. So shout out to all of those women and everybody else who facilitated in the campaigns that, you know, got things done.
Absolutely. There's a small business here, Black Woman on a Mission. They did an excellent job. And what I love about their brand is they're very everyday woman oriented.
Yes.
And so they make sure that they are advocating not only for Kamala during this time, but as the brand continues, they really are about rallying women. So it just seemed like a perfect storm in that moment for them to support her, for, you know, the policies that support us. So I loved it all.
Yes.
So we gonna...
I would like to actually give a shout out to Jamila T. Davis out in New York. She's been a face for so many different reasons, for especially Black women. She's a previously incarcerated Black woman, and now she's an advocate for so many causes. And just seeing her in the forefront as well, it's pretty powerful. She speaks to women from the hood. Shout out to Cardi B as well. So people who might not understand what's going on, they touch those different communities. So shout out to Jamila T. Davis for sure.
Yeah, shout out to the girls.
Yes, period. So we're going to move into our girl topic, and today we got a lot of things we're talking about, okay? We talking about the real things, the tea, the that's going on with the girls. And first up on the agenda, honey, y'all know I love me some Dreamville and I love me some J. Cole. Like that's my dog. Everybody ask me who my number one favorite artist is, J. Cole, okay? But y'all may have heard about what's going on with Ari Lennox and how my girl is kind of frustrated with the label. Okay, she's frustrated with her not being able to get marketing for her album, just a lot of different things that she expressed on her Instagram about her experience with the label. And my whole thought, I think about it is, she's the only woman, right? Like in the Dreamville, you know, crew or what have you. So I haven't heard about any of the men or anybody else. Of course, I'm not saying they don't have their frustrations, but it makes me think about her experience in general as the only woman, because as a a Black woman that served in a male-dominated space before as a veteran or as a service member, that can be very tough to sit there and advocate for yourself. So maybe there's been communications that she's had and just not feeling heard, which is why she took to the internet and went online and talked about it. But what are y'all thoughts on the whole situation?
Well, I'm interested in hearing Jazz's perspective because you're in the entertainment space.
Wow.
You know,
Mr.
give us a little
Taylor
insider,
TV.
you know.
So my opinion is nothing new to me, especially because there's a lot of artists who do feel that way, especially when, like you said, Leslie, she's the only female. Labels have a way of prioritizing certain artists for certain reasons. So this is just not her season. That's how I feel. This is just not her season, especially when I hate the fact that even she said it herself, they label her as the mental health awareness puppet, kind of, you know. I do feel as though that can cause a lack of interest when it comes to the labels. In all reality, I say that because my own experience, although I'm not a part of a label, when I was going through my personal issues, I was not myself. I would have my long rants on social media. I will lash out. I would think I'm being the voice, but it's really like deterring people from wanting to work with me. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying it's not okay for her to express herself, especially if she's been doing it time and time and time again. But me just knowing that labels do prioritize certain artists at certain times is just not her time at the moment. And I do just wish that when she spoke a couple weeks ago saying she's taking a break from social media, she would have actually took that break from social media, because now we're here having a conversation about something because, again, she's human. She has all right to express her feelings and how she's been mistreated, in her opinion, how she's been mistreated. I'm saying her opinion because I'm not in the label. I don't know what's really been going on behind closed doors. But I do know a few weeks ago she said that she's taking a break from social media and things like that. And now here we are just 2.5 weeks later or something, she's having what the label would call another episode. So it's things like that to where the label's not going to want to. It's really cutthroat. They're not going to want to deal with someone who might have, in quote, mental issues. The label does not pay for you to go speak to a therapist, you know? So I just feel as though being in a label, you have to also protect yourself, whether it's you having that monster behind you to push you, but also have that solid foundation to where you could say, you know what, yeah, the label's behind me, barely, but I can fund my own music. I can release my own albums. I can do my own videos. I can pay for all marketing and promotion myself. There's certain people who I know who doing it, who's not to a major label. So Interscope, it sucks. Dreamville, it sucks. But I just feel like she's a great person. I love Ari. I love her down. She makes me feel sexy, to be honest. However, it's just not her season within the label, and that's just how I feel. I don't think it's not personal. I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder though, because like I always wondered about artists who sign to other artists who are like currently still like really doing it. Like J. Cole just kind of pulled back and came out of his whole, thing and the beef and stuff. So I wonder, like, what was she expecting? Like, did they have that conversation, or was there things that were kind of assumed to happen? Because I know she talked about, like, she has to pay for her own Google ads. And I can see both sides, because when I was working in a nonprofit, they would have, like, an expense where they would pay for certain things for you, but it would be, like, sometimes the minimum. And so I remember, I'll never forget this IT guy one time. He was like, yeah, I just buy my own stuff. But when I leave, I could just take it with me. But I buy it for me so I could do the job. But at the same time, I can understand the frustration. If you're supposed to give me these things and you said you would and you don't, that can be frustrating. And then also it can be tiring constantly having to do things yourself if you're supposed to have a label. But I ask that because I get with a label, there are probably some restrictions she has.
It is.
So I wonder what were the expectations.
So it also depends on what type of deal an artist signed. There's so many different deals that an artist could sign. To piggyback what you were saying, Dr. Phoenix.
Big dog.
Every artist has different deals, are given different standards they have to reach, right?
Mm-hmm.
So some artists, they might just be given distribution where they're on they're signed to a label just so they can get their albums or a mixtape out. It might be a certain amount of music they have to get out, and that's like promotion and things like that. Or then you have to make that money back. That has to go back to the label. You know what I'm saying? So what if I don't know her numbers and things like that? But let's say Ari did not make that X amount of money back to where all the money ended up having to go to Dreamville and Interscope, to where she ain't make no money to herself. It things like that. It works that way in certain instances, and it's unfortunate, but even off air when we were talking, I believe sometimes you have to know when to hold and when to fold. I tell myself that all the time because when I was in dark places, there was times like, F that, I'm not doing that. I'm higher than thou and feeling, and rumor has it that she's one of those, which is okay to have standards and boundaries, but where you won't, someone else will, who's much more humble about the opportunity. You know what I mean? And that's just how it is. When it comes to labels and deals and things, I feel like you have to understand what you're getting yourself into. In Ari's instance, she got herself into basically nothing, to where there was no expectation set. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't okay, well, this is what we're doing for you. It's like, who are you? We like you, but who are you and what could you bring to the table for us? To where now our focus is on you. We making you pop.
Right.
Yeah. I wondered, though, because I could get with...
And that was in Lehman terms, guys.
Yeah. I wonder because, like, I feel like sometimes if you know you're going to go to war, you can't get tired of fighting.
Right.
And if, yes, ideally in our heads, we know our worth, and also, like, we should have certain things. But I also, especially with Black women, I always want you to have realism. Like, ideally, things should be this way, but when you get into certain industries, it's not going to be that. And if you say something, which you can, just be prepared to fight. Like, to
advocate.
Get exactly what you want.
Like, I always say this to artists, whether it's mainstream artists or independent artists, is just know your business within this business. And that doesn't even have to be an artist. That could be us.
Yeah.
Know your business within this business, especially the music industry. It's 80% business, 20% talent. Know your business within this business. Some people might be signing a 360 deal, thinking, right, no shade, and they might think, they getting a whole lot of something, but then when the check comes, it's like, oh snap, I only have a penny. There's artists who really get paid pennies.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's just because knowing your business within this business. A lot of artists, they get all the jewelries and things before they even see real money.
Yeah.
And now they left with nothing. So I would say in this Ari situation, this is my full opinion. Maybe she depended too much on Dreamville and Interscope without having a solid foundation for herself to begin with as an independent talent.
No shame.
That's my opinion when it comes to it. But hey,
yeah, I ain't no artist. I can't sing. I could just yap, but it just...
Right. However, I do want her to really, really, really take the time to just be okay within self first, because I'm not gonna lie, I did see her, like I said, I saw her say this is her like she's gonna delete all social media and things like that because it's taking a toll on her, and then we see her on social media expressing herself, and I do feel as though that happens very often, and there is...
Well, she said after that, she was like, she doesn't like that image, because I think she said she's like happy in a good place. And that was another thing she had. Yeah. So,
but there also comes a point where we got to take accountability in a sense too. So if she's tired, in quote, tired of being labeled as that, obviously there was a point where at some point where that's what she was showing. Yeah, accountability is okay. Like, and it can be ugly. You know what I mean? And that's just how I feel. Like, go ahead.
Yeah, but what I was like going, because when I heard it, her video when she was explaining everything, it was like she was saying like, I don't know how I could take a break from social media when like this is my job. Like half of the world is on social media, so I have to be active. I have to be present. And I think that's also where like
have a team.
Yeah, that's Ooh.
I can attest to the social media break situation.
Yeah.
You don't have a
Yeah.
team. Say you had a team, right?
But that everybody can't afford to have a team
No
or to
shade.
do it.
That's a fact.
That's her point. Like, to your point, and to what she's talking about, the label with the marketing and the things.
But
like, maybe that's not the case. But when you talk about social media breaks and things like that, like there has been times where I've been doing influencing for 8 years now, and there was no breaks. I promise you, like we were talking about offline, and when we just now is like, what somebody isn't doing, they'll find somebody else to do. So if I'm wanting to continue to nourish an audience that I have on socials, not to say, because I don't know if Ari is like, you know, I'm doing all these things, brand deals and all that stuff. I don't know if she's doing the same thing I'm doing, but if I can talk from a social media perspective and those breaks, yeah, it's tough to make that decision when you know that's your livelihood. And I'm doing that.
Get it.
I'm doing that full time now. So
I get it. The reason I get it is because as long as you've been doing that, being a content creator, I've been a media personality, a party promoter for many years as well. Right now, I'm on Carefree Black Girl. I'm Jasmine Taylor TV. Jasmine's got the juices in the back burner. I've been on a break for 2 years. But your demographics, those people who are your solid foundation are always going to be there. Music is always going to be there. It's always okay to take a break and rebrand. It's okay.
So, but you said 2 weeks. She took a break.
No,
well, she took a break for 2 weeks, or she said
she didn't. She said she was going to take a break.
No,
she was going to delete.
At the end of this year, she's removing herself off of social media, and you can find her like on her website, and then she's gonna like re-strategize.
So
she said that was her last post. That post she said was her last post.
But that's essentially she's saying after New Year, I'm really ain't gonna be on this social media shit. My website, hit me up.
But I'm saying that to say like it's okay to genuinely take breaks for your mental health, for whatever it is. It's okay, and even to talk about like everyone can't afford a team. That is true. That is very true. Because goddamn, you can't. You know, it's okay to be a one woman or one man army, but it's also okay to find that humble bone in your body, to find some type of bartering situation. There's so many different people who can do certain things. I'm going to wrap this up, what I have to say, but there's so many people who you might call friends. It's like, what do you have all these people around you for if they can't be your videographer, your photographer, your PR? Like, get them away from you if they can't contribute to something. That's how I feel, not just as a music artist, just as a brand as a whole. Don't have people around you if they can't help. When the money come, the money gonna come. That's how I feel. Well, and you know I'm gonna always be devil's advocate, but that's me.
To wrap it up, y'all, I just think, Ari, find out how you want to exist in the music industry and what that looks like for you. Your music is great, girl.
Love you, boo.
Good luck, sister.
All right, so we are going to continue our conversation. Misogyny seems to be making a comeback.
Ooh.
Where did it even go?
It just seems to be making. It was very prevalent. I can
send
say
it back. That we can send back.
Listen, I watched the Megan Thee Stallion documentary. I Am a Hottie, but also I honestly watched it just for this podcast. I've been avoiding it because it was so much for me. Because she was talking about how, you know, if you're a woman that like talk loud, you fight back, they are gonna come for you, and that's just been me, you know, like that it kind of was like too parallel for me. Like I've heard people say for me, like, well, maybe if you be quieter, or maybe if you be nicer, and I don't really have time for that sometimes, and I don't think people understood that. And just to see her telling this story, but then also interweave through it, you see all of these people saying they don't know if they believe her. One guy, it was very trigger warning. He was like, well, he should have aimed up higher if he was going to do all that.
Finish the job.
And it's like...
Finish the job.
So that just makes me wonder, like, what about the, I think the doc was called...
In Her Own Words.
In Her Own Words, right? So for those of us who saw it, what about that whole thing? Like, what thing in the documentary like resonated with you or triggered you the most, if you can think back on it?
I think for me, what And first of all, I'm so proud of her for like following through as a person who is a survivor of sexual assault. And I'm in a small town and people know what to do with it for the very reason in her documentary. And my parents worked in law enforcement and they were like, it's not too late. You can do it. I was like, nah, because it wasn't even the trial or even the assault afterwards. It was the life I'm going to have to live if I decide to open my mouth. And people are like, well, why didn't she do this? Why did she lie to the police? And it's like, as a survivor, as people who's worked with survivors, people don't understand. When you're cool with somebody and they hurt you, you don't hate them instantly. So I know couples who they've had knockdown, drag out physicals. The police get there. Oh yeah, no, it's that's not an abnormal thing for someone who to experience violence like that.
Right.
To start saying, oh no, I don't want to get them in trouble. But even with her saying that, people are not sticking to the facts.
Right.
She did not press charges. She did not lie in court. She lied to Gayle King. Y'all ain't never lied to y'all aunties before? Like when y'all came home from college or something?
Grandma.
Like, damn. She did not lie in court. She did not lie. She lied to the police, but then the doctor was like, no, ma'am, that wasn't glass.
Right.
It's bullets.
Right.
And I think it triggered me because when Black women get hurt, we're talking about everything else.
But ourselves.
But the hurt, you know? And, you know, if somebody gets gunned down or something like that, you're usually going to focus on that. But it seems like because she lived, people want to pick apart. And it's almost like Black women have to martyr themselves for people to believe them. Because if she would have, and thank God it didn't happen, but if Tory was like this man said and shoot it up, then people would have been like, oh, you know, gun violence.
Protect Black women. And,
protect
oh my God.
Black women. It wasn't
She's a
enough for her
survivor.
to get
It's
shot.
different. Yeah.
Y'all don't care about that. So it's just.
What about you, Hazel?
I think what was triggering for me is like, spoiler alert, it's really touching and it's really like it's gonna get you like it's gonna get you teary eyed. And I think what touched me the most was like her losing her mom and her really going into that story and really talking like her like literally seeing clips of her just drinking out the bottle, like just drinking out the bottle and trusting into these people. Like y'all gonna see a montage of Kelsey and just seeing how like close they were, and then just for her to like in a quick second and all of that, it was really just like disheartening for me to see, like even like her trusting into Tory and things like that, and for him to just do that and then follow up with the chopping up the horse leg in his music video and things like that. It was like that was just that was so triggering for me, and I really felt her with this documentary, and I'm glad she shared this with us. And I just feel like this also goes to say how the industry also turned on her, like the men in the industry, like the way they turned on her, and then also with, you know, when that shooting happened after that WAP pack came out, and then, you know, with the whole world just kind of being like, is this what we're representing and things like that. And a lot of things she had to go through just really like touched me, but that friendship thing really like hurt me the most.
Hurts because she was doing Kelsey's hair like she's a celebrity or whatever, but it was like, this is us, you know, we doing this, and for it to like play out like that, it just I saw her on TV. I was like, you need to leave, bitch. I never heard that, you know, because I was really like.
But yeah, I think it's crazy how women are like just looked at in this industry. Like, have y'all got into the Angel Reese and Shaq podcast recently? Because that's another woman in this industry who we
talk about her all the time, trailblazing.
Yeah, but like there's another woman in the industry who kind of is like now looked at in a certain way, and I think that Shaq interview really just put the
I'm so disgusted with him, and I've been low key because he used to comment on Megan Thee Stallion's dancing, and it's like your sons are on here. Like, come
your
on,
daughters, your daughters.
He keeps doing it,
but he referenced her as like. Afterwards referenced her as like his daughter, right? Like, or a father figure.
Gross.
And it's just, that just made it worse, you know? Like,
and
I'm not surprised by him. I'm not surprised because maybe a year or two ago, rapper Scarlett had an opportunity to work at one of his studios. He has like this movie theater studio somewhere up north, and he didn't know who she was at the time. But then once he was like, well, who's the artist? Who needs it for free or whatever? And then he saw her, heard her story.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, all right, cool. And let her come. And then all of a sudden, he ended up paying for a whole bunch of stuff on the back end and started flirting. It was just very disgusting behavior behind that. So that's why I'm not surprised. This was like 2 years ago. You're the old uncle and he needs to behave as such. But then again, I can't say that because the old uncles are like that.
That term funny uncle is for a reason.
So
I just want to say, because I feel like Black people be missing the mark sometimes, somebody being smart or being a good businessman does not negate them being a good person. And what he did to Angel Reese was disgusting. I just can't imagine getting to meet somebody
you look
I
up to.
admire.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here and we're peers.
and then FaceTiming her all these times. She showed all the times he FaceTimed her and calls her. It's obsessive. It's weird. It's
and you talking about me dunking in
And
booty
booty
shorts. Like, you don't even respect me as a peer.
And you could tell how uncomfortable she was, and the fact
Yeah.
that he's not seeing that, it's
Like
just
he ain't have no
sad.
social awareness. Like
Right,
none.
like
Just-
damn, I'm making her feel away.
Yeah.
And yeah, I kind of just want to like wrap this conversation up too with that's why we have to respect these women that in our generation of now, because those are the ladies that the newer generation should be having mentored by.
Yeah.
Women that actually get them, not by a man who been in the industry for years, because these men end up becoming very obsessive and they think with their masculine ways. So I say y'all just keep pushing these women like Angel Reese and Megan Thee Stallion and any other artist or pioneer right now, because those are the women we need to look up to and to mentor us and to get advice from. Because some of these men, they do help us in a way, but then some of them want their piece of cake too, and it's not okay.
Period.
And I just want Black women to know, y'all saying free Tory and all of this, misogyny will never pick you. Okay? Black women is all we got.
Moving on to the hot or not section, we got two topics we're going to get into that's hot or is not. First one is the holiday season. So how about y'all feel about holiday season? Is it hot or not? 3, 2, 1.
Hot.
Not.
Bro.
Not.
No.
No.
Okay.
First of all,
I don't want no pumpkins.
I don't want
Oh,
pumpkins.
I don't like. Oh no, I don't like. No, talk about like winter.
winter.
Stuff.
Like,
Y'all don't like. Y'all never had like a hot chocolate
I
candle.
like cashmere woods. I like vanilla.
That,
yeah, like the vanilla. Y'all don't like vanilla bean.
Apple, cinnamon. Okay.
I don't want my
I don't
house
like
smelling
apple
like
cinnamon.
apple.
Ew, I don't like apple cinnamon.
I don't like
scents.
apple nothing.
This smells so good.
But hot chocolate, yeah, it's really good.
Yeah,
like
all
that's
all
good.
those.
Like that's good. I love that one.
Yeah.
No, I like the warm cashmere stuff.
Yeah.
and
Ooh,
things
yeah.
like
Yeah, I
that.
know.
She
I
a
do
springy
that.
girl.
Yeah, I like stuff, but pine smell. Ew. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Don't real Christmas tree me either. I don't like the
Yeah.
smell of it.
Certain ones, yeah,
Okay,
they can kind
well.
of get a little.
Let us know what's your favorite holiday scent, or if it's a rock like these girls. Okay? And the next, we just had Miss Glorilla
Big
drop
Glo.
her debut album, Glorious. So is it a hot or not? 3, 2, 1. Hot. Hold up,
Yeah,
hold up,
I'm
hold up.
feeling it. I'm really
Let her
feeling
cook.
Thank you,
It
God.
definitely has music for every mood.
Yeah.
I love
for
Glow
sure.
Life.
And I even cried at one song
Which one?
when she was talking about domestic violence.
Oh.
I cried a little bit, but I
Gotcha.
cry about everything. I even cried about some rapper album. It was crazy.
Yeah, I felt like those songs were like that song. I forgot what it's called.
I
And the one
forgot
with Money
too.
Long, I felt that one's real personal. So I really couldn't get into it, but I felt like it resonated with
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
right
See why,
crowd.
yeah.
It definitely resonated.
Her
with the
album
right crowd.
definitely has music for different crowds. I feel
She
like
got a little
Yeah.
Kirk Franklin on there.
Yeah, I like that part. I love the Kirk Franklin and then her going to Glow's prayer. Like really just and in the intro too. Like it's just like this was really like
was a
her
good
time and
yeah.
her come up.
Yeah.
And I think it was just an amazing. It was just kiss.
glorious.
The old lady
Hallelujah.
in me from the South or South
just so
Carolina
happy.
loves that. It's glorious hallelujah, child.
Mhm.
You better do it.
Because she's just a walking manifestation.
That's
how
what
I
I'm saying.
look
She
at it.
better be that.
Yeah,
I'm
shout
here
out to
close.
her. I vibe with
Y'all
that.
look her up on the nurse.
I vibe
Yeah,
with
and she
that.
had amazing features. She brought out T-Pain, Lotto, Megan, her get another hit in. It was great.
Her and Sexy Red. Yeah.
Oh yeah, her sexy. Oh, the Write Me Down sample. That was cute.
Yeah.
Actually, my house brother Nova, he actually styled her in Sexy Red for that music video.
With the baby fat?
Yeah, with the puffer jackets and the two-piece. Yeah, so
That's
shout out to
fire.
my brother Nova.
Hey.
He did that one.
You
That's
sure
what's up.
did. Those were cute.
Right.
All right, y'all. So we're getting into our Get Free section where we're just talking about how we give y'all the tea, the tips, and all that to get free out here. And, you know, we talked about social media breaks earlier in the episode, but it's just that time of the year. You know, everything is very heavy, especially it's the gift that keeps on giving, the gifting season, all the things, what we're thankful for, But, like, sometimes all of that stimuli can be very overwhelming. And, you know, coming from the girl who's always on socials, job is on there, it's tough. Like, it is very tough to, one, take a break because you feel like that sense of FOMO, right? Like, oh, yeah, I'm missing out, know what's going on. But then other times, like, I feel like it's absolutely necessary just so that you can really censor what your mind in which you are, you know, consuming on a day-to-day. So what do y'all feel about social media breaks? I know we're in this day and age where
I love them.
you know, we always on our, you know, on our phones and things like that. So
I look at it as more of a like a hibernation. Like, this is definitely hibernation season. And I just say, my advice to people is take a social media break when you just feel like you need to focus on one certain thing. My biggest, longest social media break was actually of summer 2021 when I actually moved here to Charlotte. You know, moving from Connecticut and Charlotte is such a big move. And I really had to figure everything out. Like, I remember I also not even take a break from social media. Take a social media break. Oh, not social media break, but take a break from friends. Take a break from family. Like, really,
social break.
like, pour into yourself and focus on what your goal is. Like, social media can be a distraction for some people.
sure.
And like you said, like, oh, you feel like you're missing out on things, but it's like you gotta put the things you're missing out on, like, things that's not gonna help and benefit you. So definitely just take your social media break when you feel like you need to really focus on a goal and a drive to get to where you need to be, because it really will help you get there. And I really would not be here sitting with you ladies if I did not take my social media break that summer.
I would say it's definitely it's you have to take a social media break, okay? The reason I say that is because we live in a world where everything is glitz and glam and glamorized. You know what I mean? And you might feel as though, oh my gosh, she looks like this. Let me nip tuck this. Or she has this bag. Or dang, he has the baddest bitch. Or, you know, and that social media plays a huge factor on that, to where you feel as though you might have to play catch up, and it's never that. And
or
I
comparing.
say that, right, and comparing, exactly. And I say that to say, just from my own experience, I take social media breaks often. I even if I'm still actively on social media, I might take a break from, like, my brand itself, because there's times where I feel discouraged because there's people who might have just got into the industry and now they on certain carpets. And I'm like, dang. You mad, right? Like, what's the opportunity? Like, what do they see in you that they don't see in me? You know, when I start thinking like that, I have to fall back. And I realize when I do fall back, more comes my way. Like, one time I had fell back from social media. A couple months later, I won an award. And I'm like, what the heck? I won an award. I haven't even been active.
Right.
But again, your people who support you going to always be there. So once I start saying, hey, y'all, I'm nominated. I need y'all to vote for me. People who supported me voted for me, allowing me to win that award. But them breaks are needed because, Lord Jesus, comparing and contrasting your life to social media, that'll be a downfall, baby.
For real. How you feeling, Miss Phoenix?
I think I have never taken, like,
put some respect on my name.
My bad.
Speaking as a doctor. Listen, I haven't ever taken, like, a long social media break. But I do implement breaks, like, almost in my daily.
Yes.
And so it's something I recommend to my clients too. I have a timer set on my TikTok. Yeah. You can do that. And when it's time, I get off. Like, okay, this is it. This is off. Another thing I always encourage is get a Finsta and trick the algorithm to show you puppies, flowers, music, follow that stuff, and have that page, and that's all it is. Like, that's it. And
positive vibes.
when you feel like your personal page or your brand page is too overwhelming, you can just go over there, scroll, get good things, and you can trick the algorithm to feed you good things. That's another way that I like to take a break. And also, just not to get too into my psychobabble, but really think about what social media is for you, because that'll put it in perspective.
Yeah.
Because if you realize that you're just doing it because you're bored at work or you hate work, maybe change your perception and say, well, maybe I can look at something else because maybe I need a new job. Or maybe I can use social media to learn more about something I've been interested in. Figure out what it's going to be in your life so you don't constantly feel overwhelmed. And if it's just a source of, I'm from a small town, so I don't really add people from my town on TikTok because I feel like they will hinder my creativity. And once I figured that out, I stopped trying to use social media to connect to people that I felt like was going to make me anxious.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, okay, I'm going to use social media to be creative. So I'm going to follow other creators. I'm going to look at creative stuff. And, you know, it can get into your brain, like you guys said, to start comparing and stuff. But I find that because I implement these little pieces all the time, it's a little easier for me to snap back. Because, you know, if I'm like scrolling, and, you know, you human, you just forget. Once it's like, all right, you hit your 2 hours, then I'll be like, yeah, I need to get off anyway because I'm starting to bring myself down. So you can also, like, just put those little mini breaks in there, too. And much to the other girl's point, sometimes a longer break is needed. But I know for me, I kind of need to put it in there constantly because I overthink anyway. And I yap a lot. So, understand yourself and what social media is going to be for you.
Right. So in summary for our good get free keys is to use social media for your betterment, you know, leverage it to help you to be better, more positive. And if you do take your social media breaks periodically, whatever you feel like is necessary for you. But also a good rule of thumb is to implement daily, you know, periodic breaks, leveraging your timers on iPhone and things like that, and focus on the things that are most important.
Okay, now we're going to go into the biz to watch. Shameless plug. I would love if you guys subscribe to the Care Salon. It'll be up here or down there somewhere. And it's We Care at thecaresalon.org. What that is a newsletter that's going to be focused on mental health and holistic practices for Black women and Black MBs. Follow the Care Salon on Instagram. Because really, I just want to make sure that we have health that's centered on us, research that's centered on us. And so if that's something you're interested in, you know, holler at your girl.
The dots.
A business to watch for me is a app called Ballroom Plus. It was created by someone in Ballroom and the name of legendary Zoe West. So if you guys want an app basically just all about ballroom and Vogue and things like that, please go download the app. It's on our App Store and on Google Play. And I definitely advise you girls to do it because I know you ladies always ask me about ballroom and stuff like that. So this is literally just the app. It's basically like TikTok or any Instagram Reels, and it's all just ballroom. So go get the app, Ballroom Plus.
Ballroom Plus.
I have one, guys. Cloud9 Aesthetics Charlotte. So basically, like it says, she's an esthetician here in Charlotte, North Carolina. I haven't been a client of hers yet, but I follow her on Instagram, and it's very appealing. Her work looks great when it comes down to her waxing, her just skin treatments and things like that, especially if you're trying to learn about skincare. She's very knowledgeable from what I see. Even when it comes to asking her certain questions, inquiring, she's not one of those like leave you on scene, even though she has lots of followers. But her Instagram is cloud9 aesthetics CLT. Hello, everybody, and we are back, Carefree Black Girl Podcast, and we're going to go ahead and shout out our girl to watch. Shout out to Jazz. She's actually one of our Carefree Black Girl performers from Raleigh. She will be featured on Rhythm and Flow on Netflix.
Period.
Alongside Yoshi Vintage, who is from Flint, Michigan, who lives in LA, but she's a part of Carefree Black Girl as far as our performers. So be on the lookout for them on Netflix, Rhythm and Flow.
Rhythm and Flow.
And that's Jazz with an X.
Yes.
Yes, honey.
And that wraps up episode 9 of Carefree Black Girl Podcast. Make sure you join the conversation on Twitter at CFG Pod.
CFBG Pod.
CFGB Pod.
CFBG.
CFBG Pod. Okay, let me start from there. Okay. CFBG Pod. CFBG. Okay. And that wraps up episode 9 of the Carefree Black Girl Podcast. Make sure you join the conversation on Twitter at CFBG Pod.
Period.
And I'm your girl, Hazel. I'll make sure I got it. And it's right here too. Okay, I got it, y'all. One more time.
It really.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
And that is a wrap for episode 9 of the Carefree Black Girl Podcast. Make sure you join the conversation on all things on Twitter at CFBG Pod. I'm your girl, Hazel Harvey, and I'm signing out. Pass it to my girl, Dr. Phoenix.
Period.
It's your girl, Phoenix Lux, Dr. Phoenix Lux, your favorite therapy and fantasy baddie. Follow me at Phoenix Lux on everything, Flirty Love on IG, and I'm passing it to Big Les.
It's your girl, Big Bet Les, aka Leslie Latrice. Y'all can follow me everywhere at Leslie Latrice and catch me every Sunday at 3 p.m. on YouTube. What's up, Jazz?
Y'all already know it's Jasmine Taylor TV. Make sure to follow me on all platforms. Jasmine Taylor TV. Just Google me, baby. You know the vibes. We here. Carefree Black Girl everywhere. Let's go.
Period.
Later.